Good morning. I'm really very, very delighted to be here. For me, you don't know me that well, but for me it's quite a privilege to be able to speak before an eager audience to help, if I can, all of you be able to explore purposefully hidden truth on a grand, cosmic, multi-dimensional scale. Is that clear, what I said? Everybody? Okay. On the first part of my presentation, I talked about some of my childhood and later young adult experiences with extraterrestrial beings, benevolent, kind, loving, highly evolved in my case. There have been many experiences people have had with the little gray guys and tall grays and even reptilian guys. There's a lot of races out there. Most of them are benevolent. There's over 450 million plus human-inhabited, highly intelligent, and humanoid worlds that are spacefaring, spiritually advanced, that have a great regard for all of you. You may not know it, some of you do, but they do. It's never been a problem for them to solve the problems of this planet, technologically or spiritually. That's never been the issue. The issue, and what's held up a transformation for this planet for so long, has been how to do it in a safe way so that there isn't destruction and death here. There's enough of that already just by misguided leaders. We all know that. The Sayre's agenda is not my agenda. It is something that was brought to me by an ambassador of an alien race, a very ancient extraterrestrial race, more ancient by far than the Pleiades or the Venusians or any of the races that have inhabited planets in our system or have come here in the past or present. They were responsible for developing and helping come into creation beings like us. The Pleheran or Pleiades people and other races, including the guys that are known as bad guys as well, long ago. They are human, but they are 18 to 25 feet tall. They are highly advanced, more highly advanced than what you might call a spiritual master on this planet. And they helped bring into existence on many galactic civilizations and world systems, including the Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy, life, animals, plants, people, and then they vanished once they got that organized to kind of leave us on our own. What the Sayre's agenda is about, something new. It's not known about in most esoteric, spiritual, or in UFO circles. Very few people know about the Sayre's yet, but they're going to know a lot more about them in the next few years. I want to give you a little history about them because it's pertinent to who we are here today. I don't ask anybody to take my word for it or to take what I say on faith. That's not why I'm here. Because of Talia, his kindness and his generosity, and his ability to organize well, we're at this conference. The conference here today is far more important than just a UFO conference. I don't know how many, I would like to find out how many people actually have felt the kind of protection here. Would you raise your hands? Yes. A kind of a spiritual protection, a kind of protection that says we cannot be interfered with here. Not by a hidden government, not by a military-industrial complex, not by the NSA, not by the CIA, not by the old KGB, which is called something else now. And I don't ask you to believe this, but most of you are already tuning into some kind of protection. There is a field of energy over this building. It's dome-shaped. It's golden white light in nature. It's transparent. And there isn't any negative force that can penetrate it. And the interesting thing, too, is that when you leave here today and go home, one thing I can assure you is that protection will follow you. Your plane fares, your bus, your cars, all safe. So you will experience that for yourself. And that has to do with, does not have anything to do with interfering with your free will, but it does have to do with working with your true free will. Long ago, when the Saires worked in developing races in the lower creations, in the physical worlds, they had also developed a few races that became, I suppose through lack of experience, tyrant in nature, that they like to control people and properties and things. And one of those races was a reptilian race. They're tall, very muscular, 9 feet. You couldn't beat them in a fight. They're highly intelligent, and they were once vegetarian. And why I say that is because another race long ago conquered them. You'll hear that for the first time here. Conquered them and did what is called an implantation process, misusing an extraterrestrial technology that was originally developed by very kind, loving humans who they conquered. That technology was designed specifically to keep people from ever having a subconscious mind. What does that mean? It means that normal human beings in other worlds that have not been influenced in this way covertly do not have a subconscious mind at all. This is important to know, because one of the things that protects people and helps wake them up a lot more and a lot faster is just knowing. Once you hear this information, believe me, you'll never forget it. Back then, they utilized this technology to control a reptilian race that were actually quite benevolent. They were a white-ringed race, and they were from another, what's called a parallel dimension. How many people are aware of the idea of parallel dimensions? I don't have any problem there. There are 144 parallel dimensions, and that's an important number, before you get to what's called the astral plane. Everybody's heard of the astral plane. And in those worlds are countless world systems of living beings, not just the physical universe, the Milky Way galaxy we live in, that has trillions of beings living on it. And isn't it surprising that most of us don't even know they exist? Pretty clever. The trade and the socialization of these races is benevolent, most of them. And they trade and move in their technology and their anti-gravity technology between the various parallel dimensions. And so there are races and worlds collectively that are staggering in the amount that exist. The reptilian race, after they were conquered, this was more than 500,000 years ago in galactic history. You twisted this technology to create subconscious minds in beings, and then they would implant artificially created terrorizing control images in the electromagnetic field of people, or what people call the aura. They don't need to put a little microchip under the skin. It's a little graze. People think they do that, and they can. But that's more the military-industrial complex experimentation with some extraterrestrial technology they acquired after World War II to try to develop and use a more awkward type of this technology. The actual implantation process uses a very low-frequency carrier wave to send these images into the field around a person's body without their awareness, and you don't feel it. You ever notice how sometimes elected people in government get on the campaign trail in any country and promise great disclosure and wondrous things, and then once they're elected, they turn the corner 180 degrees, don't they? That's because they're surrounded by certain advisors who are themselves influenced by this technology. And that became more officially apparent here on Earth after World War II. I talked about this to some degree on Friday. And what this does is it works with shutting down what's called the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Now that pineal gland in the center of the brain is about the size of a thumb and has a strong blood flow, one vein in and out, strongest in the body for its size. And in it are rods and cones, like those you have in your physical eyes. It's not designed to see light frequency like our eyes do in color and texture, because that's a very narrow frequency. But it is designed for the being, you, not the body, to utilize it to see into the grand multidimensional universe. We're supposed to be able to accurately see into this as normal human beings and plug into an omnipresent field of force, an ever-present force, a living force that exists underneath and between all matter and all dimensions. And scientists know there is this force. It's not made of matter. It exists in the void of space. They call it the God particle in the CERN super collider in Switzerland kind of thing, because they don't know what it is. Human beings can plug into this force directly. They're supposed to be able to do this and know what they're doing. And when they plug into this force, it's like taking a drop, which you are, or a spherical energy form, made of the same thing as this omnipresent force, and you're able to plug it into that omnipresent field. When you do that, you don't lose your individuality, but you do and are able to connect into that wisdom pool. So it means that when you normally work through the pineal gland in the center of the brain, what people call the proverbial third eye, you should be able to connect into one of these rods and cones that are tuned to precise frequencies in other places in creation. And you should be able to look into that and know what's going on there. Extraterrestrials, no problem. They do it all the time. It's normal for them. They're telepathic. They have 100% use of 100% of their brain, and why not? It's all there. That we're told we use what, 6 to 10%? That's because of some manipulation to the genetic code, the genomes on the DNA. And this took place a long time on Earth, and it's been passed down generationally so that people live about 100 years if you're lucky. A normal human being on another planet lives at least 1,000, up to 20,000. That's normal. So if a normal human being were suddenly introduced to you here, their field of energy is very high to us, and you'd be quite uplifted. It wouldn't be a chilly, eerie feeling. You'd be blissed out. This is the experience most people have from contact with benevolent extraterrestrials. They get very uplifted. And it's shocking to them to have someone talk to them telepathically. The reason they do it telepathically is because, and we're not talking psychic here, they do it telepathically because there's no distortion in the communication. It's like sending a holographic field of energy and a stream of energy from one being to another. And in it is the sound, sight, smell, taste, motion, everything that you'd want to say. The other being gets it exactly without any distortion. So we're supposed to be able to speak with vocal cords. We're supposed to be telepathic. Today, most people call that intuition. But that's a shut down form of perceiving things. To go back to the Sayres race, they thought it would be benevolent to bring as close co-creators with the source of all life, which they are, to bring all of us into, help us be able to develop these bodies and get into them as beings and to gain experience and wisdom. They thought it'd be a good idea to simply leave us on our own, and they did for a long time, like 1 billion years. They immortalized their physical bodies over 1 billion years ago. And yet they can appear to you as a physical presence you could touch. They're very advanced. They taught most of the spiritual masters that you hear about, or the Galactic Alliance masters among them, and there are millions, have taught their races. On other worlds, the political systems are run by their most advanced spiritual beings. They're trusted and they don't lie. They actually operate for the best interest of the people, and they don't have these problems. And there is no money. Here we have to use it. Money is a method of control. When you take out a piece of paper and it's got ink on it, we think, well, here's 100 kroner. If I give you this, I can buy this radio, and I'll give you some change. Tyrants from other worlds know how to work with money to control people, to make them a working slave race. This world has 7 billion people on it. The movies in Hollywood that depict aliens coming here and destroying this planet is completely wrong, because that isn't how tyrants work. What do I mean by that? I mean this. A tyrant race that's highly technically evolved, that wants to control planets and property for resources and other things, want to take a race that might be on that planet and dumb them down, close down some of their higher natural faculties they developed long ago, and then mess with the genes a little bit, because these little genomes on the DNA are switches. Now, the genome here on Earth has been mapped out. There's over 1 billion of them. And each one is a switch. And if you know the frequency to turn off or on that switch, you can turn it off or on. Benevolent people won't mess with this unless they want to enhance it. Tyrants will close certain ones down, like age, a time clock, or health situations, or the ability to have a photographic memory. In most people, that's been tweaked, twisted. Or the ability to have telepathy between beings. Right now in this auditorium, we're all communicating telepathically. Most of you know it, but it's not clear. It's not a very conscious thing. But we are. And this particular conference is extremely important to the Seres, and to the spiritual masters, to the White Brotherhood, and to masters that are quite more evolved beyond the White Brotherhood from other worlds and other systems. What we're doing here today, and why it's so important, is because this isn't just about the benefit for the people in Norway, but you, the people here in this building right now, are particularly unique energy. It's because you're open, it's because you're searching, you want answers, and you know you have the right to them. You know it, and you don't want to be lied to anymore. Here in this particular conference, the energy field that's going out here today is very unique, and it's going out to the whole world. That's literal. I mean it quite seriously. And so something is beginning. It started before this conference, about 3 3/4 years ago on this planet. And it means that a decision was made off-world recently amongst more than 450 million planetary systems, billions and billions of beings. They were given a new tool they didn't have before that allows them to retire evil as an experiment in creation. This is really significant because they had to have something to replace it. It's a new kind of array that's woven through the hue that I shared with all of you on Friday. Everybody's heard about the Om, right? Om from India and all that. That vibrates when you do it, the throat and the heart area. It opens these centers, and that's a good beginning. The hue comes from a place far above the void of the Buddhists. There are many dimensions above the void that the Buddhists know about. And in those worlds, they're pure positive energy. There is no duality. And they are considered to be unfixed and unfinished planes of existence. In other words, creations and prototypes are built there and tested. And if they work, they're brought into the lower worlds, down here to the physical. This new ray was created there. And surprise, surprise, it was first introduced to the mighty Seres. And it brought about a great consciousness change in them because it made them remember that maybe they still have a responsibility to help the younger races get out of the mess they've gotten themselves into. That includes the reptiles and the grays and the short grays and tyrant government people and politicians and all the stuff you've ever heard about in history on this planet. This is a unique planet. One of the reasons it's not evolved as fast as other worlds is because the poles on this planet flip overnight 180 degrees every 100,000 years, just like clockwork. And that's been going on for millions of years. Because of that, a civilization that develops here is destroyed on the surface entirely. It's a very violent affair. And then the planet is recolonized by various races, and the experiment goes on. The Say-Rays, when they first went through this consciousness change, experienced this ray and had a great upliftment, so they've decided to return. And with that comes a transforming energy ability to not kill people, not kill the reptiles, not kill the royalty on this earth, because I can tell you that they do not know what they are doing. They are controlled. And most of them don't even know it. This happened officially after World War II. I talked about that on Friday. It happened worldwide because of a treaty that Eisenhower signed that was set up by Truman before him with the creation of the National Security Act in the United States and the CIA. Both of those clandestine organizations came into existence 3 weeks after the Roswell crash in New Mexico. It was terrifying to these people that aliens with greater power than our nuclear bomb were here. So 35 countries agreed to classify all of this in order to get people to be baby boomers and rebuild a destroyed world after World War II. That's how it started. But once a group like this makes a treaty with a totalitarian alien race to get technology, they're more antiquated stuff, mind you, not their good stuff. Then they start down the road of lying to everyone. And the more they lie, the more karma they create. And it comes back to bite them. Just like ISIS was originally created by the US in some way to go after bin Laden. And then they turn on things. What I'm saying here is that this implantation process has been carried out on this planet effectively through the satellite system. It doesn't really mess with lives as work and raising kids, but it does keep you from knowing, doesn't it? It makes us stay in speculation, doubt, theory. That's not a normal state for a human being. A human being is supposed to know with certainty why they're here, where they came from, and where they're going, like the other races do. We are not only not alone, there is a coming transformation that is already green lit. It cannot be reversed, fortunately, to change this planet finally and make it a spacefaring member of a benevolent otherworld organization. Not just physical, but spiritual as well. Human beings in this room were once in another life. All the things you can think of, you can become as a human being in the future, you've already done. And that's been taken from you. This was even used as a prison planet, political prison planet at times. If you want to control someone you capture, put them on Earth. Implant them to forget everything they ever knew and compel them to reincarnate here. Unaware life after life of what they are. Everybody knows it was done. The great good news about this is it's being undone. Any misuse of technology can be turned the other way. So the Say-Rays agenda was written while I was in contact with the Say-Rays ambassador. His name is Torellian. And any of you who want to get in touch with such things telepathically, if you really want to find out about them, we're going to do an experience later. We're going to do a deeper exploration into this U and this ray. And I want to share with you a little bit about what form this ray took on what's called the soul plane or the Atma plane. The Atma to extraterrestrials means soul. They know what they are that isn't physical. They know what it looks like. I can describe it for you, and I will, but it's better that you experience it for yourself. It's spherical in shape. If you looked at it, it would be like have a white central core with layers of teardrop self-effulgent lights, self-luminous lights, built-in layers of color to a violet exterior with a golden halo around it. This is an individual or an atom of the divine or an atom of this omnipresent ocean of living energy. When the Ceres were observing this war that occurred 500,000 years ago between a galactic alliance and the reptilian race, they were defeated with help we got in secret from the Andromeda Galaxy, some very evolved beings there. And the white-winged reptilian race was sent back into the dimension they came from and locked in there. They cannot return. The effect they had on the reptilian race for this time was put into their genetic code and subconsciously implanted. So they've been a terrorizing force in the universe for that time. Not by open war, because it's under treaty that they can't go to war, or they'll be defeated again. It keeps them from conquering and taking over other worlds just short of war. There's been a Cold War going on between several small but very highly evolved totalitarian extraterrestrial races and the greater organization of benevolent world systems. A Cold War like the one that was between the Soviet Union and the United States. These people pride themselves wrongly, the reptilians and some of the ones they control, as being the most intelligent, covert manipulators in the universe. The CIA and NSA and these groups did not see it coming. They were way outthought and way outsmarted. You make a treaty with this group and they're going to control you. So, when you look at the world and the condition of why human beings like us would drive a world the way they're driving it as leaders, you've got to know they're not in control of what they're doing. So I do not ever recommend that people have anger for these people. Compassion, yes. Anger, no, because they don't know what they're doing. If they were in control of what they're doing, like you people are here today, they wouldn't do it. If somebody gave you $1 billion, would you go spray chemtrails on people? Huh? Do you know what they are? Highly concentrated sulfur, barium, strontium, man-made things. They're designed to create the next generation to be infertile. And our own military is dumping it on people. And that means they aren't in control of what they're doing. High doses of vitamin C, crystal vitamin C, and some other elements are very powerful in bringing these heavy metals and things out of your system, even radioactive materials. So if you guys ever get in trouble with that, 5,000 milligrams of this stuff, don't care what your doctors say. It's a very powerful substance for eliminating toxins in the body, not just colds and flus, but other things. Okay. At what time do we have, Ted? Okay. So I want to stake. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the way the various dimensions are structured, because once you know about it, you will not forget it. Why? Because you already have the information. I'm not giving anything to anyone here they don't know. They just may not know it consciously. Once that's triggered, though, it comes to the surface and it will not leave. And that's a form of protection. Consciousness is a form of protection. Another thing is with these little gray guys that have implanted and messed with people, and some of the people in this room already are no longer messing with them, and they will not mess with them again after they leave here. So that's a bonus for what this is about here. The physical universe, with all of its trillions of galaxies and countless quintillions of planets and stars, is inhabited. The reason the current structure on this planet and the hidden space program they have going, that was created to ride in tandem with NASA, but classified. The Russians did the same thing. Isn't it amazing that they went all the way to the moon under Apollo? The Russians landed their rover up there, and then they just unilaterally agreed to tell the people we're not going back? Does that make any sense to anybody? No. They went back. They went back a lot. And they had help. Not so much from the good guys. That's a problem, because they also have some cooperative bases underground. There are 128 of them in the United States alone. So the real problem in extricating them from this planet is not how to kill them or fight them. It's how to do it in a benevolent way that sets them free from the diabolical controls that guide them now. And those controls go back 500,000 years. This new ray I talk about comes from a very high dimension. It was first passed down through a group of beings known as silent mentors or silent ones. These beings are so evolved, you can't even describe them in human terms. They would be the closest representatives of the Supreme Being or the source of life. They operate and run the mechanics of creation. The planets, the stars, keeping things in balance. The doorways between dimensions, there are portals set up in the universe in the beginning of time, so that one higher dimension can energize and feed the dimension below it. Each plane is almost flat in nature, and the molecules in that plane vibrate at the same time rate. In a parallel dimension, even the physical universe, a little higher up, the molecules in that plane vibrate at a slightly higher frequency. And there are little connecting points between here, like little vortexes. Extraterrestrials have learned how to circumnavigate these. When they want to go a long distance across the universe, say from the Pleiades star system to here, in an anti-gravity compelled craft, they can go through one of these naturally occurring openings that they did not make, go a short distance in the astral plane, what people call the astral plane, which is much bigger than the physical universe, and pop out another one and be on Earth. A person tasked on a mission from the Pleiades to the Earth, scientific or otherwise, can leave their family and go on a mission that takes about 7 hours to get here, 500 million light years. And they'll be here about 6 months, and there's a time differential between these various vibrations. And if they carry out their mission successfully, they can go back to their home planet and be gone for 2 weeks. This is really important to know, because people will wonder, how do these beings like us get around? The great distances in space are not an issue with them. They shouldn't be an issue with us either. In the astral plane, the next plane up, it's a major division in creation. And there are many subplanes within it, or parallel dimensions. And in it, the laws there are a little different. The physics of them is different. People can fly in their physical bodies there. That's not a problem. This is where most people get their dreams of flying at night. Most people in this room probably know when you go dream at night, you're out of your body. Well, what people haven't been taught, the subconscious link, it shouldn't be a subconscious anyway, but there's a bridge that you can create between where you go at night and when you return in the morning. And it's very easy to do, but it'll help you become more fully aware and cognizant of the multidimensional life you're living as an individual. Whether you know it or not, one single Atma, one single soul, has forms on 5 planes at least, living lives at the same time, to learn how to become a co-creator that can be trusted, who knows what they're doing with the divine source of everything. That's why we exist. We're not just here to become co-workers. We're here to become co-creators, gods amongst the great one. That is the destiny of a human being. And people on Earth have been deprived from moving forward into that, unlike other races and other world systems. When you go up from the astral, there's a causal plane. It doesn't matter what you believe the order of these are. It doesn't matter to the source either, as long as you have an understanding of what they do and how to move around in them. Because our extraterrestrial friends out there, most of them know how to do this. It's a piece of cake for them. Commonplace. A child born on an alien world to us, a human child, we'll use that as an example, is born into a society where the parents and the government reinforce, consciously, with full awareness, reinforce that child's ability to leave their body from the time they're a baby and know it, and progressively know it more. That child, as I said, has a photographic memory. They know all the other lives they've lived. They bring it with them into that planetary system. And their parents know it. The child grows up with a certain fiery passion, which is natural and normal, and that is to use the imagination in one correct way. The correct use of the imagination is to create intentionally only that which is of great benefit to all life. Not just life on their planets, life everywhere. That's the way a normal human being actually is. There have been times on this earth where human beings have been like that, and then it's been destroyed, one reason or another. The dinosaurs went extinct 50 million years ago or so. They were an experiment that was brought to this planet, and when they got so ponderous and big that they would have eaten themselves to death, which they were doing, they were done away with. And human beings have been able to live on this planet in our form since that time. And since human beings never evolved on this planet, that's why you can find a human footprint that's 30 million years old. And they found them here. Where did that come from? How could there be a human footprint on our Earth? Didn't we come from monkeys? Primates? Amoebas? No. Whales and dolphins did not evolve here either. Most of the plant species and abundant life was brought here from other worlds where they evolved. So we have a great abundance of life here, but it's not native to here. Neither are we, which means you're all extraterrestrials. No, I mean it. Literally, you really are. You didn't evolve here. Don't you think you have the right to know that history? Shouldn't you know that? What about ape man? Can you label something anything you want to when you see it? Yeah, well, you see it. Call it an ape man. Looks like an ape. Call it an ape man. But you don't know where it evolved from. There's no proof of any link on this planet that's provable that human beings ever evolved from apes. Apes and monkeys and gorillas are still who they are. How could we evolve from them? They're not native to here either, by the way. They aren't even from the same planet human beings evolved on, which makes sense, doesn't it? When I say this information to you, it's not just me speaking it. I'm talking to each one of you as an individual being with respect and love and understanding and knowing with certainty that what I'm sharing with you is true, or I would not speak it. That's my responsibility. That's the mission I've been tasked with. When I started writing this book, I had written 3 other books before it called the Parallel Time Trilogy. They'll be published in order starting next year. And it's about the hidden history of Earth and our solar system going back 100,000 years to the destruction of Lemuria and most of Atlantis, which was a colony at that time. And it describes and discusses why the poles flip. And the most important thing that I bring to the table with the Sayres agenda is the Sayres race and the beings that work with them are in process of permanently ending the polar flips of this planet. That's really important because it means that now human life here can evolve for millions of years uninterrupted as it has on other world systems. So don't be too surprised if in the future you or your grandkids get to go on field trips to other planets. This is not new. This is ancient. When you go up from the astral plane to the causal plane, which is a vast dimension larger than the astral, just like the physical universe we know exists, the molecular time rate of the matter there is much faster. It stores records of other lives for people to review. This should be normal. You should be able to do this. When you studied spiritual things on earth, the different gurus and things teach you techniques. Go to the Akashic record, look up these reviews and stuff. Look up these different things. You go into the next plane up, it's the mental plane, and it's even bigger. There, the sciences, the inventions, the thoughts, mental images come from there. A thin layer above that is an etheric level. Everybody knows about it. Now we come to an important thing, a void. What the Buddhists call a void, they say that's the end. There's nothing beyond it. That's not correct at all. Beyond that is what's called the soul or Atma plane. When you reach that plane across this void, the energy is what's called pure positive. And there is no negative there, so beings create for the betterment of everyone. What was lacking there in this higher plane and in the planes above it, all the way to the very center of the source, or the being of creation, what we call the being of creation, of which we are all part, the same thing, made out of the same energy exactly. The same faculties and abilities as the supreme source on a smaller scale. When you get up into that area, the only problem that was there for billions of years was how to solve the bigger problem. And the bigger problem of God, or the source, what people want to call it, what people on other planets call prime creator, is how to solve the problem of the lower dimensions, because they are fixed and finished. Every possible experience has already been developed here. You just put your attention on it and light it up to gain experience. They're fixed and finished. What was recently done was brought into creation a way to retire a very old tool that was brought into creation billions of years ago called evil. To cattle prod souls to move. If they were lazy, they wouldn't do it. It was meant to do what it was meant to do, but it never was successful and it never worked. We all know that. So they've decided to retire it. This is a big statement. And with it comes a replacement of something that only does and moves people and motivates them to grow in a natural way, but not through the negative side of the dual current, the good and the bad in the lower worlds. That means they're going to unfix and unfinish the lower planes. The extraterrestrial races are consciously involved in this, and they're doing it in order to unlock it so that these tyrant things can be set free and we on this planet can start to enjoy our true heritage. How's our time? 11:51. Okay. I wonder, would there be, and I really want to make this a really friendly, warm thing. I'm just a person like you who's had some opportunities to wake up in certain ways and work with these guys. You'll have that opportunity. So I would like to, and I'd love you all to feel comfortable in asking questions. But first I want to do something, an experiment. It's really not an experiment. Let's put it another way. I want to share with you a technique that's in the last chapter of Omnick's book, which I wrote. And it has to do with the form that this new ray takes. It takes a structural form. When you use your imagination to see the future and yourself in only constructive, benevolent ways, that's the correct use of your imagination. To be caught in using it, and many people are misguided in doing this, to show people to use the imagination towards a destructive future for themselves or others, that is how you get controlled. So don't do it. The hue, which I'm going to share with you, comes from a very high place in the universe and from very far out in space away from here. It's not native to this planet. It's not native to any planet. On this soul plane, the Atma plane, the first thing that manifested when this decision was made, I won't go into the details of how that was created, that's another story. It took the form of a pyramid. a pyramidal form, a 4 square base and 3 sides, triangular. And it was made of a substance which is not matter, and it radiates a light. And inside this pyramid is a fountain. And in that fountain, which is a white stone fountain, maybe 25 feet wide, is the statue of a being. He's bronzed of skin, bald head, 2 gold bracelets on his upper arms, standing with his hands to his side in this bowl, and from his palms is pouring this ray. It's a white light with a tinge of gold in it. And it manifests a sound. And the sound is like the hue we're going to do together. I hope you'll all join me. It's a sound which sounds like millions of men and women's voices singing in perfect harmony on multiple levels. And it is a primordial sound that goes with the hue as well as the light that connects people into this center in themselves and into the center from where they originally came from. And it begins to bring a person into the journey back to that consciousness. That's what it's for. The hue has been around forever, but the new ray in it is recent. This fountain, this water pouring from his palms into this bowl, flows over the sides of this white stone in a smooth, even sheet. And it continues into the earth to unknown places. This is 5 dimensions up from here. Out in space in our galaxy, these pyramids have been manifesting over the last 3 years between stars. There's one in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. They're gigantic. They vibrate on a level that scientists here cannot see, but they can detect them with other instruments. And inside each of them is this same fountain. This fountain has an ability to move or levitate through the walls of this structure, set itself on the ground. Now, a human being, in their imagination and in their out-of-body travels, can drink from this liquid. And you'll find 12 golden cups on hooks around it. You don't have to even pick up the cup. You just tell it you want to drink it. It'll lift itself up, dip it in this liquid, pour it down your throat. And what this does is it takes the implants of these diabolical things that were done to you, not just in this life, by the way, and brings them up into a sphere of energy above your head so you can see them objectively for the first time. And then you just know to have them dissolved. And these beings help you do that. Once that's done, you don't have a subconscious mind anymore. Takes some work in that you need to do a little bit of it, like 10 minutes a day at night before you go to sleep. Do the hue, imagine this fountain. And by the way, there are 3 on the planet Earth right now. 2 at the deepest oceans of Earth on the bottom, and 1 inside a mountain in Tibet, in the Himalayas. And they're turned on. And they are connected to the pyramids that are out in the galaxies forming. This is a prototype galaxy. This is the first galaxy that this is being done in. In all those trillions of galaxies you see out here, this is where it's starting. And Earth is a primary focus of this. So actually, we're really quite fortunate. All this suffering and craziness for so many lives is going to come to an end. The people who are in power now are not going to be harmed. They're not going to be attacked. We know they don't know what they're doing. And the other races that are controlling them are going to have the same implants removed from them. Not just on Earth. You have to be able to solve that problem out in space so it'll never come back here. So let's do this. If you'll do it with me, what we'll do, take 3 good deep breaths. Just really relax. No. If you want to, you can stand or sit, whatever makes you comfortable. It doesn't matter. Take a couple more breaths. Let me get some water. This is good water. Omnic was right. We get Daffy Duck water in the United States. Twisted. A lot of fluoride in it, which closes down the pineal gland, by the way. So don't drink fluoridated water. Okay. Spit it out. Wash your mouth out good. Okay. Imagine. Use your imagination because that's the key to the universe. It really is. Imagine something you love. It can be a beautiful waterfall. It can be a child. It can be your car, your shoe. Just something you have gratitude for, appreciation. And then just send out this you on the outgoing breath till your breath is gone. And when we're done, just stop, look and listen inside. You don't have to try to make anything happen. We'll start that now. Just look and listen. Watch, observe. I will speak this very slowly, and I'll write it down for any of you who wish it. The words I'm about to speak are formulated in a precise order. The mental image pictures associated with these words open the creative imagination to a very large place through a doorway, through the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Here is what you can say, and you can vary it however you want, but the meaning needs to be the same. Here it is. Safely show me purposefully hidden truth on a grand cosmic multi-dimensional scale, and the much greater expanded love within it. Now we will hue again, because you've just sent that out on this ray, in this you. You May the blessings be is a good way to end this in a group. You can take this with you when you leave here. I would recommend find a time of day, morning or night, that's comfortable for you to do this in an effortless, childlike way. Maybe 10, 15 minutes. Maybe before you go to bed at night. Because you're going to be creating a bridge between the other worlds you visit and here. And you're going to create a doorway through which this information may pass. Now, I found something very special. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but it works. We are binocular beings with two eyes in the physical. And these eyes are designed to see the frequency of a spectrum here. But when you work with the spiritual eye or the inner eye of being, it's called the third eye, and it sees in 360 degrees. It's a different spherical, it's a different kind of thing. And when you work with this, through the hue, through the ray, the reason we did it 5 times each time, because it was the 5 planes. We started on the soul plane or the Atma plane, where this fountain was first manifested, then brought to the series, to the Galactic Alliance, and now to Earth, and what it does. That's why we did it 5 times each time, because it connects you to that place above the negative worlds, the dual current. You're above Maya now. You're actually on the other side of the void. You will find this out to be accurate on your own. That's all I want, is for you people to have the real experience of this, and you will get it. If you practice this, you'll find that as you're doing it at night, a phenomena happens for every single person. You'll just come to a stop. You'll just know to stop. Then go to sleep. Don't give it another thought. Don't worry about having experience. You've already asked it what you want it to do for you. And those words are very wide indeed. You're telling this force, you want to have back all of you. And the protection that comes with this will help you do that. No force outside, no alien race, no government, no technology or misuse of technology can penetrate this when you're doing it. When you're doing it, you'll find that out. If you do that for up to 30 days as an adult, you will have some very profound experiences. Did you hear that? Some very profound experiences? Okay. I would really like it if all of you would feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll come up to you with a mic, and we'll talk together, and I'll answer those questions for you. Anybody have any questions at all? No questions? Oh. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Hilda.
Okay, your name's Hilda. What's your question?
Could you speak some more about the fountain, how to use that?
The fountain?
Yeah.
Okay, she wants to know how to use the fountain. Okay, one of the other things you can do besides the you at night is you can imagine this fountain. You can see it on the bottom of the ocean. You can see it in your backyard. But once you start to visualize it in that statue, I won't even tell you who that is, because there's so much light coming from the head of that statue, you can't see facial features anyway. But it is only benevolent, and it can only bring good things into your lives. It does not work with the negative power at all. So imagine that, and imagine one of those cups dipping itself in this liquid, which is new. And just open your mouth and let it go down. It'll come out through your pores and then continue through you to the world to do good things. That's how that works. Thank you. Any other questions? Can I get by there? That's okay. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Eno.
Eno.
And I have a question, which is,
Closer.
you say that we will experience things of positive nature.
Right.
Does that also count for the people that we care for and the people we love? Are they included in this experience?
He asked me if the people he loves would be included in this experience if he does this. If you're connected to them telepathically and you love them, they'll pick up on it. Yes. It goes out like that. That's how that ray works. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. It's Jan here.
Yonner.
I feel my children are more advanced than me in a spiritual way.
So,
How is that? Is the brain connected more and us?
I think your children are already experiencing some of this ray. And you're going to find people have heard of indigo children, right? Some of these children are coming here to be clear channels for what's coming. And some of the children will be unusual in their talents. They're not fully awakened. They still have implants, but they are able to access both hemispheres of their brain better. Some of them are photographic memories, child savants, and that kind of thing. Yeah. Any other questions? No more questions? Well, then I guess it's... Oh, yeah. I was still here, yeah. Hi.
Should we talk about what Great White
Brotherhood?
Brotherhood
Yes.
now or later?
I will talk about the Great White Brotherhood. She wants to know. The Great White Brotherhood works in the 4 lower dimensions in the dual current world systems. Is this still on? Yeah. And they've had a pretty arduous task for millions of years because they haven't had all the tools they need to really enlighten people. Sometimes it would take a master 20, 30 years, sometimes several lifetimes, just to get one person out of this mess here. That's hard. There are masters called the Vairagi, which are stationed all over the universe, not just on Earth, and in ancient history, that are a higher order. And the White Brotherhood get much of their instruction from them. And the Seres and things like this. It's a lineage. It goes back. And you're all going to become aware of this anyway. So the White Brotherhood I respect. I work more with the Vairagi and the Seres. And the being who runs pretty much the soul or Atma plane, which is represented in that statue. But I don't need to say more about that because it's more important that you all have your own experience about this stuff because you once knew it quite well. Everyone in this room, without exception. Any other questions? Any at all? Nobody's curious about anything I said? Nothing? Hi.
My name is Anne-Christine, and first of all, I would like to say that we Norwegians are a bit slow in our thinking, and we have to reflect about things. So here is my question. It takes some time. I was wondering, because I've had connection with the white light, and I feel very much comfortable with doing in my meditations. And how is this white light in your comprehension of this year's agenda, please?
Okay. She wants to know how the white light that she experiences in her contemplations or meditations is related to the Seres or to what the spirituality or the enlightenment or the consciousness of benevolent extraterrestrials pretty much. How is it related? There are 2 things that manifest out of the hue that human beings are capable of contacting directly. Everybody knows about the light, but the more important element is the sound. There is a primordial sound in creation that brought everything to creation before there was even light. When you connect into that, which you will through the hue, you'll begin to hear what people call the music of the spheres. You'll hear sounds coming from these higher dimensions. And when you hear them, you'll begin to operate in that consciousness. And another thing, this brings up another point. You do not get your emotions from here, from the brain. You don't get your thought from the brain. The emotions come from the astral plane, and you have a life there. You're a multi-dimensional being as a single soul. Thought comes from the mental plane, 4 planes up. Somebody were to get Alzheimer's, and they wouldn't know who you were anymore, who they were. This is the astral by growing old and dying. It lives much longer than the physical body. If someone still has a body here that's, say, 60, and they get Alzheimer's, this link between the astral and the physical is dwindled. So the mental and emotional aspects don't get through to that person. The ultimate result of that, if it's not corrected, is death, because the body can't live for long that way. Any other questions? I'll get right there. Thanks.
I think you mentioned earlier that the reptilians were once vegetarians.
Correct.
And does that mean that they have influenced people on Earth to violate and kill animals for food?
Oh, you're talking about us eating animals, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Very controversial issue. Why not? People are going to eat what they're going to eat. I'm not here to tell anybody how to eat. And different people need different things. I myself am a vegetarian. But I'm a vegetarian because I don't kill animals. It's not for health or anything else, because I will not kill them. I love them. Just because some other human being slaughters them for me and puts them on my table, it's pretty irresponsible for me. So I don't. But many other people in this room will be required to do this. And I would say do it until you don't desire it anymore. Don't force this issue. It won't work anyway. But as you raise in consciousness, as these things that have been buried in you surface, certain things will change, but you will be changing them. No one will be lording it over you, and no one will be manipulating you. How refreshing. Any other questions? Yes, there was one here.
You say that we are singing you 5 times.
Closer?
5 times. I have been in Concourse
Uh-huh.
and we sat for about 20 minutes.
A little closer. There seems to be a malfunction.
20 minutes
Okay.
singing you, and when it was a continuous tone, you.
Yeah.
Is that wrong to do, or are we going to only do this 5 times?
Oh, no. She asked me how many times you do the hue in Eckankar, which is an organization in America which disseminates what the hue is. I do not promote Eckankar in what I do. I'm selling a commercial book. I'm on my own mission, but I work in harmony with those beings and with a vast array of beings beyond Earth. The hue is not copyrightable or patented or owned by anyone. No one on this earth and no one off-world own it. They wouldn't dare try. So, you can hue as long as you want. 15 to 20 minutes recommended, or even 10 like I suggested to build this bridge between the dream state and here. Because when you start going through the hue, you're connecting into the beings in the universe that use this, and they pick up on this. And they start coming into your field of influence. These are benevolent beings. You know, people want to ride on a spaceship. I think it's best to go in your soul body there first, because they see that and they can talk with you. They know that. You don't have to appear physically to them. And if the conditions are right, you'll maybe be brought aboard in a physical way. And at some point, everyone will know that anyway. I hope that makes a conscious connection for you. As far as the hue, I wouldn't overdo it. You don't need to rush it. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you're really having experience, keep going. After 10 minutes, nothing happens. Don't worry about it. Just stop, go to sleep, or go to work if you do it in the morning. Simple as that. Any other questions?
Can you tell more about the brain and Alzheimer?
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have it, even if you're old, or you think you're old. I can't say more about it. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that it is a manifestation of a problem on the next plane up, the astral plane, that affects the physical. So doctors are going to have a hard time addressing that unless they open their consciousness to know what they should know on this earth The same thing you're hearing here today, in which case they wouldn't be prescribing so many drugs and they'd be trying to put out cures.
Hi, I just have a comment on that. If you have Alzheimer's or if you want to avoid to get Alzheimer's, you can use coconut oil every day, 2 tablespoons. That will help you.
Wow. Thank you very much. She said if you use coconut oil every day, a few tablespoons, that will help Alzheimer's. I didn't know that. There's a lot I don't know. There's a lot I do. And everyone here can know it too. That's the only reason I came all the way to Norway. Pardon me.
I'm wondering about the Tao and the meaning of darkness within darkness.
What kind of darkness?
Yeah, just nothing. If nothing is everything. Or
Nothing.
Buddhism.
About done? Okay. I'm not sure I understand your question. You're asking me what nothing is, or?
No.
It's the same we discussed at breakfast.
Huh?
The nothingness.
Oh. You're wanting to know what the nothingness is? Well, if you look at the nothingness, there's no such thing. And the void in space, and like the void up above between the etheric and the higher planes, it would appear to be a void to you, but it has energy in it. Okay? Well, I think I have to do we have time for one more? One more.
Thank you. My name is Robert.
Yeah.
Just very briefly, previously you suggested that our leaders, political leaders, mostly, they are doing their acts subconsciously, or they are totally controlled by
Yes.
reptilians and such. For us, even though if they are doing this control state of mind, the outcome is all the same. So just we are standing on the threshold of a final battle, I believe, one of the biggest in humanity.
Yeah.
Will there be some help for us, for the benevolent beings?
Yeah, he's speaking about Armageddon, the end of the world. War of the worlds. That's not going to happen. During the Cold War, there were 12 times the military set off nuclear weapons to blow this place apart. And 12 times, most highly classified thing you're going to hear, one of the most. A couple of ships would hover over the central launch computers in the Soviet Union, the United States, and shut them down. And then they'd fly away, not a word given, and then turn the launch computers back on with the launch mode shut down. So somebody was saying to them, do whatever you want, but you're not going to do that. How do I know that? By exploring the universe through the hue. I have direct experience with it. That's why I'm sharing it with you here. What I want is for you to have that experience. Okay? Well, I want to wrap it up. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you. And I want to thank Talia, too.